Hello, doctor. My name is Deng Zhejiang. My metro number is 205136. Today we are talking about air traffic control in the risk advancer of sky. An airplane system to fly at will, not real, just as the vehicle on the road must be operate traffic route and directed by police and traffic lights. So aircraft flying in the sky must be over traffic route and directed and dispatched by specialist organizations, that is air traffic control. The use of communication navigation technology of monitoring means to monitoring and control aircraft flying activities to ensure flight safety and order flight to meet the need of flight safety and the development of air transport and to meet the increased needs space aircraft as known as aviation management and air control in the airspace of flight route. Different management airspace in devoted, including air route, flight information management area, approach management area, tower and management area, with aerospace management area, EAS3622, and different rotor equipment is used according to different management area. Interval divisions is carried out in the management aerospace and the horizon and watering interval between place constitute the base of air traffic management. The air traffic management system consists of navigation equipment, radar system, secondary radar communication equipment, and ground control center to complete the monitoring, identification, and guidance of aircraft in the covered area in order to ensure flight safety. Each control has strict air traffic management regulation. Sounds control insulation and corresponding equipment and facilities. In addition to ensuring air traffic safety, air traffic control departments are also responsible for coordinating the use of airspace by
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. I beg to Dr. Amzari and also Dr. Zairil. My name is AFIQAH IZZATI binti SUNDUSIN, matrix number 208232, and today I'm going to present about the history of the ATC, air traffic control. As you can see here, I divided the history into 6 parts, which is the first part is between the 1903 until 1925. During this era, as we all know that the First World War stimulated aviation technology development, aircraft production, and also the pilot training. So humans started to acknowledge that plane also could crash as what happened to vehicles on the ground. And the postal of service during that time is very important. And then during one night, a test were conducted and sadly one pilot died because of that. And realizing the importance of the airmail, the 1925 Contract Airmail Act was accepted by the Congress, increasing the creation of a private U.S. airline field. And then we look at the era of 1926 to 1932, where the Congress tasked the Secretary of Commerce with creating the air traffic laws, certifying the pilot and also aircraft, also at the same time setting up and also operating aids for navigation under the Act of 1926. And during this era, we all know that the radio navigation is started to become popular and perform on 83 radio beacons around them. They conveyed directional beams to their destination the pilot could pursue. And then we go to the era of 1936 until 1957. In this state, we all know that during the World War II, to also a covered runway take off and also landing, uniting airport towers with Air Road Traffic Control Center. In 1946, the CAA experienced it with a tower of 4 civil flights fitted with radar. And then, during the year of 1958 until 1977, in the meanwhile, Congress passed the Act of 1958 Federal Aviation in action to the crash accident that happened 2 years ago at the Grand Canyon. This is very important, and then a computerized system was installed by the FAA starting in the year of 1965 to 1975. The merit data from the flight plan with radar and transponder reading for the very first time were provided numeric screen readings of data on the location, also speed and also altitude of the aircraft. And then on 1978 until 2001, we can see that the airports start to manufacture in 1995, the first new major airports in 30 years. So the delays were 5 times fewer during its first 11 months of service than those as the former Stapleton airports in Denver. And then during from the year of 2002 until the recent, which is 2021, controller at more than 350 sites across the world working every time for the single day. They were under pressure in a tons of situation because thousands of people's lives are in the hand and solely responsible of the controllers. So no errors are allowed. So in the in charge of person to be careful and also skillful. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum to Dr. Amzari, Dr. Zairil and my fellow friends. My name is FARAH ZULAIKHA BINTI JAFRIKHAIRI, matrix number 207785. So today I'm going to explain on how air traffic control works. Firstly, the FAA has established 4 key serving major services depending on the flight process. The first one is the Air Route Traffic Control Centers, or also known as ARTCC. The ARTCC is responsible to distinguish aircraft as it flies between airports. Generally, the ARTCC facility is managed by an associate radar controller who assists the radar controller to separate aircraft which is invisible on the radar monitor. So the next one is the ARTCC also responsible in securing the altitude between aircraft by using the information obtained from the flight progress strip. Next, Terminal Radar Approach Control, or TRACON. TRACON air traffic controllers use radios and radar screens to coordinate aircraft to and from airports. After aircraft leave the TRACON's airspace, the aircraft will be handed off to the controller at the en route center, which will then guide the aircraft at a higher altitude. TRACON services range from giving safety alerts to giving traffic advice to pilots in flight. The next one is Air Traffic Control Tower, ATCT. This facility comprises 3 main components. The first one is clearance delivery. This service is established to reduce ground clutter frequency. Conversely, ground control is responsible for ensuring a safe movement of aircraft and vehicles through taxi interaction in the airport. Meanwhile, tower control services control the runway traffic, issuing takeoff and landing clearance. The last service facility is Flight Service Station, FSS. This station is responsible for providing personnel and commercial aircraft with pre-flight, in-flight and en route communication and weather facilities. This facility also organizes rescue missions and offers operational support to other aviation activities. Moving on to the next part. So basically, air traffic controllers manage aircraft through all flight phases, from departing from one terminal gate to arriving at another terminal gate. Air traffic control works based on 7 phases of flight. The first one is pre-flight. During the pre-flight phase, a flight plan must be filed to the flight data person. Flight plan consists of airline name, flight numbers, and other vital information of the flight. A clearance is given to pilots after the flight plan had been approved before the strip is handed off to the controller working on the ground. Next is takeoff. Before the aircraft is allowed to take off, the local controller watches the skies and tracks aircraft using surface radar. When it is believed that the aircraft is safe to depart, a final clearance for takeoff will be given to the pilot. The moment where aircraft takes off from the ground, a transponder device in the aircraft will be activated by the pilot. Transponder signals an oversight of vital information of the aircraft to the departure controller works in the Tracken facility. Flight plan information received by the radar associate controller is gathered from 5 to 30 minutes prior to the aircraft entering that sector. It is the responsibility of the radar controller to maintain a safe distance between aircraft within the Tracken sector. As the plane approaches its destination airport within a 50 miles range, pilots are needed to attune the aircraft speed, altitude, and heading. This information will be provided by the approach controller working within the Tracken airspace. During approach, aircraft are prepared for touchdown along the standard approach corridors. When the plane is 10 miles from the runway, the plane will be handed off to the local controller in the airport tower. Upon landing, the plane will be directed by the local controller to an exit taxiway before passing on the responsibilities to the controllers in charge on the ground. The landing aircraft is then directed to the proper terminal gate and the pilot will be assisted by ground personnel to park the aircraft at the gate. Thank you. That's all from me.
For application of air traffic control there is three types of air traffic control application, which is retrospective application, real-time application, and predictive application. For retrospective application in incident analysis, the purpose of this analysis is to determine the possible impact of separation standard on incident involving aircraft and also the type of offenses committed by the controller. For information, the separation standards is referred to the minimum distance between an aircraft to another aircraft. Trace was used to analyze the report, classifying test error, information, PSF, IEM, and PEM. Plus, aircraft separation is important to reduce risk of those aircraft colliding. The type error that have greater effect with reducing the separation is misjudgment of feeding, late detection of conflict, third, delaying, avoiding action, instruction, or traffic information. For the real-time application in command and control, real-time control system has two types, which is hard real-time and soft real-time. And for this application, it was a hard real-time system because it means a job that never miss the deadline. The ATC system, it will monitor the aircraft in its coverage area, the environment, and generate and then present the information. The environment is like weather condition, for example, icing, lightning, and strong wind. The command and control support the communication among the operator for both level, the pilot and the air traffic control level. And it will keep analyze the scenario and warn the operator whenever it detects any potential hazard. For predictive application in human error analysis can be direct backward because it to consider unwanted event and then determine that the offense may cause such an incident. For FTA and ATA was used in these studies to make prediction. Trace was applied to HTA of the process. It used to predict more relevant independent error. In this predictive application of human error is about time pressure because time pressure is the major factor because we need to detect the error and then do the recovery. The error may occur in judgment, memory, communication, and visual perception. Visual perception is mean the brain ability to make sense of what eyes see. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is JIAQING. My matrix number is 208938. I will simply talk about my discussion part in air traffic control system. This is contents. The first section is establishment of air traffic control system. The second section is the safe flight of an aircraft. The third section is services provided by ATC system. For the first section, the early convention and some commercial laws that about air traffic laid the foundation for the formation of air traffic control system. Along with the increasing demand of shuttle and through practice and painful lessons of flight accidents, so people gradually formed a set of rules and regulation and organizations to manage air flight. So in 1936, the first generation of air traffic control system were established. With the continuous improvement of degree of automation and some etc., the air traffic control system covering the whole world has gradually formed. The safe flight of an aircraft. Actually, a normal aircraft takes off, lands, and flies in limited space, limited time, and under limited conditions. So a plane can completely fly smoothly and safely through a series of phases like takeoff, descent, landing, and etc. The air traffic control has a key role in it. Air traffic control also passing through several surveys, facilities through different sectors like air route traffic control centers, air traffic control tower, and flight service station. So this is the services provided by ATC system. The separation assurance, navigation aids, weather and flight information, besides the traffic management and the landing services. This is very important for a safely flight. Together, these programs with no part of which without the others can be completely successful. Practical sense for aircrew and ground controllers to work as a unit is vital to maintain a quick and efficient traffic transfer. That's all. Thank you.